Hi, day 102 of 365 days of remembering. It is Trina right here. So, I want to reference back to the last video I did, which was on day 100. I'm going to put the link up here or the image up here so you can find it. And I was talking about navigating resistance in that video. And I was specifically talking about a block that I have felt that has been between me and expressing and creating a business. And I came up with 5, I think, different plausibilities, like just not wanting to show up fully because, maybe there's some fear there, fear of not being understood, or fear of, can I really take people on the journey that I say? Can I really take what I've come to know and package it in a way that will bring people to success? Can I really field all the questions and all the concerns and whatever it is that's going on for people? Can I really do that? Is there enough of me to go around if I took this on and it caught on? Can I really be present for all the people asking? And I think the last one was that maybe I would open, and just in opening to be a channel for the flow of source through me, that what came through would just be so powerful and so big that it might knock people off their feet. In fact, I have had times that I have said things that seemed like it triggered people bigly, and they then look at the trigger as what's to blame. So could I sit in all of that? So all of those seems relevant, and I spent some time sitting with each of them. But what's so interesting is today in meditation, what came through so strongly and profoundly was these 2 words, too much. And as I wrote in my journal, I had a realization that it was my whole life was this messaging. Like, I talk too much, and I think too much, and I analyze too much, I process too much, I love too much, I feel too much, I share too much. That was a big one. I share too much. I tell people too many things about myself too soon. I am too authentic, too vulnerable, and too intense. That was another one. I used to get that in my life quite often. And somehow these I am too much things, whatever was attached to them, mostly came through my father and through men in my life. And it seems like the messaging that I was given that felt like it landed for me was that I need to be less. So I'm too much, so therefore I need to be less, like less expressive and less dramatic and less intense and less emotional, or and even like things like I dream too much or I want too much. That was another one that came up. So I should want less, and I should want smaller things, and I should settle more. And so there was this kind of thing. And then as I dug into this deeper and deeper, it was so incredible. I mean, I can still feel it because I'm in process right now, that is a truth for me, that I am afraid to share all that I have to share because I just, look at that, the wind's agreeing too. I'm afraid that it's too much. And then how has that feeling found me throughout my life? Like, because I put it out and then I got that back and then I didn't like it, well, then life would constantly give me too much. So there would be evidence continuously of that. Not even just in my own being too much, but then in my life being too much, like giving me too much. Like, I had 4 kids and that was too much, too many. Why did I have so many? And then when their dad died, it was like, now I have so much. Like, I have all 4 of those kids and me to sort of figure out how to manage all of that. And it felt like too much. So I went from this sort of statement, this being myself authentically, which then was interpreted and reflected back to me as being too much. Didn't know anything about the law of attraction because, heck, I was young and a kid and then a teenager. And then didn't like the feeling, so tried to adjust myself in an inauthentic way to get away from that feeling because it didn't feel good, and then created circumstances that emulated the feeling too, like too much with so many kids all the time, too much to do, too many things to see. And for the business thing, it's been like, that's too much. There's too much that I don't understand. There's too much for me to do. Even the teaching that I have to offer to the world is so much. I just don't know how to offer it in a way that won't bowl people over. And when I really share the fullness of what I am and the truth that I have, it does feel big and it does feel like too much. So you can see how all of this has sort of brought me to this place. And I also was able to make some connections with my children that at times I felt like they were too much on top of my too muchness. So it's just been very interesting, a very interesting place to find myself and to sit and to say, so what do I want to do with this? What do I want to do next? And how can I be the fullest expression in all authenticity of myself? How can I be the too much that I am and have that be okay? Because you know what? It is okay. And it's okay if everybody else in the whole world thinks I'm too much. That's okay. There's a reason that I came with this. There's a reason that I have so much. There's a reason that I've had so many experiences and so much life flowing through me and so many invitations to share and to connect and to flow, that I just have to trust it. And so now the work is to make peace with that. And so how am I going to do that? I'm going to sit in a place of just being okay with that I'm too much. And what does it mean if every single other being I meet on this planet thinks that I'm too much? So then what? What happens when I feel that? What happens when I hold that? It feels heavy. It feels like this weight. Whereas when I'm being it, when I'm just being and I don't attach the too much to it, it just is. It's just free. Look at the sun shining on my face. Or showed up to say yes, yes, yes. It's kissing me with its little unconditional, pure, pristine love kisses to say there's no such thing as too much. You're an infinite being of love and light. And I do know that, but I also, in all fairness, without jumping over it in this moment, I want to sit with it purely and say, you know what, it does matter. It has been there, and that's okay. It's okay that I feel some emotion. It's okay that I have some feelings arising within me around the feeling that I'm too much. And it's really cool and interesting when we take the time to then question and dive into that. So what is that really about? And it's about this constant feeling I've had that I had to shift myself or be something different, mostly so that I could just be loved, so that I could just be accepted, so I could be seen, so that I could be valued. And I also feel, because in the midst of all of this, another interesting thing has arisen. And since I'm just deciding that all the much is going to come out and I'm just going to be in this place of what does it mean to be on a spiritually conscious path, putting our feet down and saying, I'm going to do this work when something comes up that triggers me or that I don't feel good about, instead of just turning the other way and running away from it. I mean, I don't need to do a business. I don't need to coach. I could just let that go and either live on the money that I have from my husband's passing, or I could just go get a job like so many other people do and just call it good. So I don't have to do it, but I choose to and I want to. And it's like that when we meet any sort of triggered point in our life. What do we do with it, and what do we do about it? So anyway, if you're enjoying this video, I just want to take that couple minutes because I'm practicing to say, please give this video like a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I want to take you on the journey of what it means to be a consciously spiritual being through the example that I'm living, which doesn't mean I have it all figured out. I am literally in the process right now of this. So when I think about contorting myself, it really does come down to not feeling valued, not feeling like people would get me, not feeling like I would be perceived as good enough. And when it comes to business, who the hell would want to buy from me? I mean, if I seem too emotional, or my dreams seem too big, or I seem too pushy, or I talk too much, or, you know, all those kind of things. Sometimes I even feel that when I make these videos, who is going to want to do that? And who is going to be drawn to me? And so that's part of what's been holding me back. And then smack dab in the middle of this, I have this beautiful invitation that my 12-year-old daughter really wants to shave her head. And there's a part of me that is like so excited and thinks that's so cool. And another part of me that is like, and freaking out a little bit about it. And here I sit as her only parent, as the only person I feel like has any sort of calming nature on this and doesn't want it to be an impulsive decision. I'm fine with her doing it as long as it's well thought out. But immediately as I say that, I get triggered into the space of like, what will other people think of me? Like, that's way too much to let her do. She shouldn't be allowed to do that. That's not okay. She can't make a decision to that scope, and it's going to have consequences. I mean, right now, because of what's going on in the world, she's not in school, so we have some space of that. But she's a beautiful girl, and she has this beautiful, gorgeous red hair. And it's so interesting because every aspect of me wants to disidentify with my physicality, disidentify with my body and with my identity, and with believing that any of those things decide my worth or my value. And yet we live in a culture that believes that. And so as a parent, I want my child to have the easiest time of it. You know, it's so funny how as parents we want that, and in fact that's not true. What's really true is I want her to have the highest expansion, and sometimes expansion doesn't look easy, and sometimes expansion isn't easy. And so can I surrender to that? And what was interesting is I wanted to talk to my partner about it, who isn't my kid's father, because he passed away 9.5 years ago. And it didn't go exactly the way I wanted. I don't know what I wanted. I wanted a sounding board and a place to just talk about it. But ultimately, I want to make my own decisions, but I think there's some aspect of me that related to this too much thing is just afraid to make my own decisions. I'm afraid to stand firmly in what I believe and what I feel and what I think and what I know to be true. Like I know from the inside out because it's a felt experience and I lived it. And yet I know that it's going to bump into other people's stuff. I know that so many parts of the world, the collective, is not ready to hear some of the things that I have to say. And so I feel like I have to not say it, all the way down to the point that sometimes how I parent feels like I have to twist and turn it so that it will be okay, so that they won't be contained within my too muchness and it won't have a negative impact on them. So this is profound. This is powerful. And my work right now on the heels of this afternoon is to sit in the place of like, I just am too much. I'm too much. And so what does that mean? I'm too much. Most people, even people I love, even people that say they love me, they just can't handle it because it's just too much. And another beautiful thing about this is my other daughter that's 16, she's so much like me. She's so much like me. And I have thought inside myself and maybe even expressed it that she's too dramatic or she makes too much out of things. And so I see this cyclical nature and I know that some of it came up from my father. I don't know if it came from my mom too, but I do see it as this, and it's up to me now, is that the gift that I want to give to my children? Because it's not. The gift I want to give to my children is freedom and knowing who they really are and knowing that they're infinite epic beings and they could never possibly be too much, but that the whole key to too much is self-sourcing. It's going to the source of everything, which is inside of you, and knowing that's where you get that feedback. That's where you get the flow. That's where you know who you really are. And when you stand in that place, then you don't go looking for other people. You don't need anyone else to give you permission, and it doesn't matter. And you just express it, and those that are in resonance find you, and all the rest fall away, and it doesn't even matter. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the charge out of this because I'm going to surrender fully into that. I am too much. I am too much. I am too much. And I'm just going to sit with that. So this was my beginning of showing the process of surrender and of working with triggers and resistance. And I'm going to keep keeping on. I'm going to be saying to myself, that's okay. It's okay. It's okay that I'm too much. And you know what? It's okay that I'm too much, that I retracted because of it, that I twisted myself up into something and that I'm not, that I've held myself back because of it. And now it stops. And I'm going to do whatever I can to take the charge off it. So see how easy it can be. Not easy in the sense of, yeah, it's hard work. It's hard to face the ways that we've held ourselves back, but it's freeing once you get there and you know it and you acknowledge it and you decide from a conscious place that you're done with that. Then it's freeing. So I will check in with you soon. Bye.